The idea of opening COA was in the loop for a long time. You would come and visit me. You would see like a line of agave spirits behind. It was my passion. Fun fact, tequila is actually the first product outside of Europe to actually receive a denomination of origin. So when you buy tequila, make sure you look for 100% agave tequila. I would hike up the mountain and I would come down every single day. Always do that. Doesn't matter if I have enough sleep or not. Doesn't matter what's on my schedule today. I would make sure that I get that out of the way. Like, it's the commitment, it's the repetition,
it's discipline,
and you need that, or else it's impossible to do anything in life, you know?
Welcome to Abnormal, the podcast for normal people who want to do abnormal things. My guest today is the co-founder of COA, a Hong Kong-based cocktail bar, which famously is the only bar to have ever won the Best Bar in Asia 3 years in a row. Jay, welcome to Abnormal.
Thanks, Peter, for having me.
Those awards, like Best Bar in Asia, Best Bar in the World, are they something you really strive for? Are they really important for business?
It is a way to open doors for a new guest to come to the bar, but I wouldn't say we strive for the awards. I think awards is a byproduct of what you do. And if you ask any of my colleagues, we never discuss about awards internally. For us, the most important thing is to make sure that day-to-day service is executed according to our standards, and this is mostly what we follow. And then everything else, basically, for us is a bonus. If we win awards, we're happy to receive them, but it's not something we go and strive for.
Yeah, that's great. Like, trust the process, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I was lucky enough to go to COA the other week. I dropped you a text to ask, put me on the guest list, and you're very kind in doing so. I'm like, hands up, I'm not an expert in alcohol and drinks. I do drink, but I'm not.
That's good enough.
just so I get it out of the way. I can't talk to you about the details of different alcohols and all that sort of stuff, but just going to COA, what an experience. Like, not just the drinks, but the staff, the vibe. It was actually nothing like I expected. I really expected like a super swanky, high end, or like up yourself a bit, cocktail bar. That's just what I had in my head, rightly or wrongly.
I mean, to add to that, I mean, the idea of COA was to be a neighborhood style bar, something very casual, very approachable. It's a place where we want to receive all walks of life. We didn't want to be a place where you come in and you feel intimidated by the setting or by what we're offering, for example. So we made it as approachable as we can.
Because one thing that really stuck with me in COA was, so it was me, my wife, and my wife and I, two of our friends. And, I thought I was the big dog. I was like, guys, I think I've got us into the best bar in Asia. But I text them before, like half an hour before, saying, wear trousers. We've got to wear trousers. because I've had this when I've been showing people around Hong Kong, and I've gone to other cocktail bars.
Yeah, it happens.
And I'm the one in shorts. And middle of summer, I'm the one in shorts and get rejected, turned away, not let into the bar.
I can relate. Yeah.
And I'm the one that looks like a tit for bringing
Actually, now there are a lot of bars. They're very smart. Like, they prepare trousers for some guests.
Yes.
If you're not aware, they may have a dress code, and if you walk into a bar, they'll provide you with that. I think it's a pretty cool idea. But at COA, we don't have any dress code. We're very casual. Like I said, I mean, the place is meant to be a neighborhood style bar. Like,
they do that in South Korea as well. They, like, some nightclubs, they have trousers. Because I made the exact same mistake when I went to was it South Korea? Taiwan, they did it because I went to a fitness competition there and tried to go nightclubbing after, and didn't get let in because they tried to charge me like 500 HKD for the trousers. For trousers, okay. But to my point, I was pleasantly surprised when we got into your bar, and I was doing the look over, and a lot of guys were still in shorts.
Yeah,
so I was like,
I mean, it's
chilled.
Hong Kong. It's summer. It's hot, and we didn't want to be too serious. Yeah.
So you're saying that you want to be the like neighborhood style bar. Let's go back then to actually like the ideation for COA. Am I right in saying it was actually quite a short process from ideation to going live with the bar?
No, actually, the idea of opening COA was in the loop for a long time. I had this idea of doing tequila and mezcal bar way before, I opened COA. And if you knew me back then, anywhere I used to work, I would always carry a range of tequila in the bar. It doesn't matter what the bar concept was. Like I worked in Italian style bar. I worked in, all kind of bars. And if you would come and visit me, you would see like a line of agave spirits behind. It was my passion. And I go to Mexico a lot. I'm not Mexican, but I go to Mexico a lot. And I just love the culture there, the spirits, the people, the food, everything. And I just wanted to bring a piece of that experience back to Hong Kong. It's a passion project, and I opened it just because I wanted to open it. It's something I really wanted to do.
And how do you get to that stage where, so you're super passionate about, I don't want to say super passionate about alcohol, that sounds bad, right? But maybe super passionate about experiences or cocktails or being a mixologist. How does one get into that line of work?
I mean, opening a bar is a tough job. For me, I think most bartenders, I mean, if you ask them, they probably would say they want to open their own bar. For me, it was the same. And everyone, they have their strengths and weaknesses. For me, I have been researching about agave spirit for a long time. I mean, obviously cocktails is one thing, but I really love agave spirits for their complexity, diversity of the spirit. And
can you just talk us through exactly what agave spirits is?
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, before prepping for this, I'd never heard of it in my life. Okay. I'm not educated in my spirits.
No problem. Agave spirit, it's a general term for any spirit that's distilled with the agave plant. And the most popular agave spirits is, of course, tequila. And we have mezcal as well. Mezcal is another type of agave spirits that is made with a variety of different agave. And the difference between tequila and mezcal, the biggest difference would be like, obviously they're produced in different parts of Mexico, but mezcal, usually the agaves are roasted, whereas the agave for tequila are steamed. So when you drink mezcal, most often the spirits will be smoky, whereas tequila would be the opposite, actually. Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, like, but they come from Mexico.
I'm sure it goes a lot deeper than that.
For sure. I mean,
thank you for simplifying it for me.
They produce in Mexico, and they also carry a denomination of origin, so you cannot produce the spirit outside of Mexico. Even within Mexico, they are designated states where you can produce tequila and you can produce mezcal.
And why is that?
It's a protected spirit. So actually, fun fact, tequila is actually the first product outside of Europe to actually receive a denomination of origin. Not only in the alcohol industry, but in general. Like we talk about denomination of origin, tequila was the first spirit or industry to receive a denomination of origin outside of Europe. Yeah.
A
lot of people don't know that, but because when you think of tequila, you think of, it's a spirit for party, for shots.
Yeah, I mean,
but there's a lot of things involved.
To be fair, for me, like when you nail on the head. When I think of tequila, it doesn't bring good memories.
Yeah,
it doesn't. It's not my favorite flavor. Yeah. It brings me not necessarily memories of the alcohol, but memories of nights. When you're doing tequila shots at the bar.
I think the reason to that would be, back in the day, when we graduated, we would go to bars to drink tequila. It would usually be very cheap tequila, and they would probably be made with. So tequila, there's two categories. One is called tequila, and the other one is called 100% agave tequila. So the tequila category can be produced with 51% blue agave and 49% of other sugar source, whereas the 100% agave tequila are made with 100% agave. So most of the tequilas that we've had back in the day, let's say, going to a nightclub or a dive bar, are usually falling under the tequila category, and they're made, industrially and mass produced, and
so they can be 51%
Blue agave. It's a must. 51% is a must.
But that's the minimum, right?
That's the minimum.
And then they can cram it with 49% of whatever they want.
Yeah, mostly it's high fructose corn syrup. So
right, this is explaining a lot of my
so
uni
first
hangovers.
First golden rule is when you buy tequila, make sure you look for 100% agave tequila. That's the first guideline I usually give to my guests.
And what's the price difference on those if we're getting 2 bottles?
Yeah, it's definitely more expensive. I mean, depends on the brand, but 100% agave tequilas are definitely more expensive than a regular tequila because the agave itself takes anywhere between 6 to 10 years to fully mature one plant. Yeah. So it's a raw ingredient that takes almost a decade to mature. And unlike many other crops used for other spirits, which can be produced every year, but agave spirits, it's a very unique plant.
And if it's 100%, what do you call it? 100% agave tequila.
Yeah.
Is that the right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So if it's 100% agave tequila, but there's 2 different brands, is there still a jump in quality between brands?
Yeah.
Or if it's at that 100% mark, is that like, okay, this is legit?
Yeah. For example, like some authentic tequilas, they produce tequila very traditionally. And they don't add any sort of additives, for example. But then there are some mass-produced tequilas. Even within the 100% category, there could be tequilas that are mass-produced. And they might add, flavorings and additives to make the tequila taste different, basically. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you need to know what to buy because the laws and regulation around tequila are not very transparent. Like they don't necessarily need to label it on the bottle and tell you like, oh, what they add inside, what they don't add inside. So you need to find your own way, basically. I mean, there are resources online that you can use to find them. There's one that's called Tequila Matchmaker, which is one of the website and app that we like to use. And within that app, there's like more information that you can find, basically.
And is this why you're going to and from Mexico a lot? Because you're looking for the right source of your tequila.
Yeah, but it's just, I mean, just going there, going to different distilleries, meeting producers, and just going to Mexico for fun, not necessarily.
It's not all business.
I mean, it is related to what I do, but we also don't want it to be like a trip where it's too serious. So we travel around Mexico. We do look for small producers, but at the same time, there are producers now that we've visited many times. They became our friends, so we revisit them. We go out with them for dinner, for drinks. So we want to keep it as casual, as fun as possible. Yeah,
I mean, I think that's probably one thing about the F&B industry, maybe in general. I might be making a huge generalization there, but it seemed the same when Scotty Callahan came on for Fine Print. We were talking about in the elevator, like he does. It seems like he does the exact equivalent, but with coffee beans and where he sources his beans from.
Scotty's a legend, yeah.
And it seems like those relationships are incredibly important, whether it's coffee or tequila. Those of you that truly know what you're talking about and the quality know how important like true sourcing is.
In the end of the day, we are in the people's business, although we sell food and drinks, but the most important aspect of our business are the people.
And how much is, like when talking about people business, now we're talking about supply side. Do you enjoy the customer people side as well?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, to be able to work long term in the F&B industry, you need to enjoy hosting guests. If that's something you don't like doing, to be honest, this industry is not for you because it can be very stressful because you're meeting the guest on a day-to-day basis. And this is something, the first priority is to make sure that the guests, when they come to the bar, they have good experience. And that comes from honesty and, authentic hospitality. You cannot just, pretend, it's hard because if you do that, in the end of the day, you're gonna become tired of the job. You're gonna become stressful. So I think you really need to enjoy hosting people.
It must be pretty cool obviously it's pretty cool having your own bar for one. It's pretty cool that bar being one of the best in the world. But what kind of joy do you get out of like truly being a destination where people come to have a good time?
Sorry, again.
What kind of pleasure do you get out of being the place where people come to have a good time?
I think the best pleasure we have is when the guests, when they come in and when they try our drinks and then they give us, compliment on what we're doing. I think in the end of the day, this is what we strive for. This is one of the reasons why we open the bar, is to make sure that people come in, they have a good time, and if they let us know that they had a good time, that's a bonus for us.
It's such a strange, I shouldn't be saying, it's such a strange menu. Like when I went in and I looked through the menu, and I really made a point that I want to try some new things, and everything on the menu was new to me. And cocktails for me are like really traditional cocktails, like a strawberry daiquiri, maybe a gin and tonic, and that's not even well, I don't know, is that a cocktail? But when I'm going through your menu, like first of all, the names are great, but I'm looking at the ingredients, and I've got one here, the Bloody Beef Mary.
Yeah.
When you've got beef broth with Mexican morita peppers, Szechuan pepper, sweet tomato wine, and mezcal. Like when you put those things together, no offense, it doesn't sound like it's a drink that I'm going to like.
Yeah.
And that's just one example from your menu, because every single one, when you read it out, it doesn't sound like things are going to work, or they don't sound like they deserve to be on a cocktail menu. But we worked our way through every single cocktail between the four of us, and we were tasting. And I didn't taste a single bad cocktail.
Thank you.
Like the opposite. It was, every single one of them were truly experiences. They were delicious. And I also like how the menu gets ranked from strength. So it's like weakest to strongest.
Yes.
So
because we get asked a lot by the guests, like, which drink is light, which drink is strong, and also not only the sequence of the alcoholic strength, but also the flavor profile. So we ranked it based on that. So if people want to, let's say, have two drinks or three drinks, they know which one to drink first, basically. And also talking about the cocktail ingredients, I think in a nutshell at COA, what we do is we want the drinks to be interesting, but at the same time, it needs to be approachable in terms of taste. So although it may sound very adventurous on paper, but when you actually try it, it's actually very, very approachable. It's something you will have one and then you will want to have another one, basically. So that's sort of the balance we want to achieve when we create our cocktails at COA.
Yeah, we worked our way through the menu, as I said, because we wanted to try everything. And then for the final round, we went back and chose our favorite ones.
Which was your favorite?
Mine, I can't remember the name, but it was served with cucumber.
Oh, the smacked cucumber.
That's the one. Yeah. It was really fresh.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to end the night like that.
Yeah.
Because I was getting a bit too confident, and the last drink that I tried was the strongest one.
The Mole Negroni.
Yeah. And my wife warned me. She's like, "You're not going to like that. You're not going to like that." And I was like, "Stop telling me what to do. I'll be my own man."
It's a drink.
It's a drink.
Like,
I tried it, and it wasn't my favorite of the menu, but I had to pretend like it was the best drink I've ever had, because I had to prove to my wife that it was my choice and I loved it. And it was a nice drink, but I preferred the cucumber one and some of the others as well.
The cucumber one it's one of my favorite as well. It's inspired by the same name. It's a Chinese cold dish that you get in Chinese restaurant by the same name, basically, called smack cucumber salad. So we turned that into a cocktail.
It was just such a cool experience. It was so experimental. I know that me personally, I would be so bad at doing what you've done or even attempting it. What is your process of designing these cocktails?
We get inspirations from a lot of places. One main thing that we derive our inspiration most of the time is food. For example, like if you look at the menu that you talked about, Bloody Beef Maria, Smack Cucumber, and then we also have a sister bar called the Savory Project, and we have a drink there called Pepper and Corn, Thai beef salad. So, like most of the drinks, the inspiration came from the food world, like how the chef use ingredients in their food and what ingredients goes well with what ingredients. Like beef and tomato, it's a classic combination. But in a drink, it's not very common. Although if you do it right in the right proportion, it actually tastes amazing. So yeah, I mean, and also like going to different country, trying, their traditional drinks. For example, like in Mexico, we have, so many traditional drinks like horchata, agua de Jamaica, like, so we like trying the traditional drinks from different countries as well. So we get inspiration from many places. Yeah.
And do you have a team that works on like flavor profiles, or are you really the brains of the operation?
No. We work as a team. It used to be me back in the day when we had a really small team, but now we're lucky we have a big team. And now my bar manager, Locke, for example, and Ajit from the Savory project was my partner there, and myself, and like basically anybody within the team who comes up with a idea, like we put it to test and try, and then we give feedback and make, if there's potential in the drink, we make sure that it's close to perfect before we put it on the menu. So it's a teamwork in the end of the day. And also, like, if I come up with a drink, if I like it, doesn't mean it's going to go on the menu. It needs to pass through my other colleagues. So they need to try it and they need to give their feedback. If, for example, if only one person likes it, but the others doesn't like it, there's something wrong with the drink. So we work around it. We work as a team, make sure that most of the team member like the drink before we put it on the menu.
And are you ever designing these drinks with those awards in mind?
No, never.
Not at all.
And also, like, winning these awards, cocktail is just one aspect of the equation.
Yeah. What is the criteria? What do they judge on?
I mean, it depends. Like, there are many judges. For example, Asia, there's I think about 200 plus judges around Asia, and obviously each individual has
a job that is.
Yeah,
judging bars around Asia.
I know, right? Each person has their own view on what's the best bar, so it's very diverse. It's not based on, let's say, oh, you need to have great cocktails. I mean, there are some bars they may not have the best cocktails, but maybe the vibe is amazing. Maybe the hospitality is amazing. So even with that, they probably could make it to the list. So I think it's not just about the drinks, but it's all about the whole experience in the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that obviously makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure the cocktails are great at most of these bars if they're making it on the list. And I'm glad it's not someone like me who I could tell you if I like something or not, but I can't tell you if
but also, like, for me, for example, if I go to a bar, I don't necessarily go to a bar because they make great cocktails. True. I go to a bar because I feel comfortable going there, and also whether the place makes me feel like home. Those are the places that I go to, and that's just my opinion, right? Like, a lot of people, they go to a bar for different reasons. There are so many guests, they might go to a bar because they make good cocktails, but then there are some people, they go because of the music, or because of the location, for example. So, I mean, again, it's very subjective. That's why you need to have like a diverse list of judges to make it more fair, basically.
It's probably quite a niche of the population that would only go somewhere because they know the cocktails are good.
Yeah.
I would imagine. I've got some friends or some old business partners who are like that. They're really cocktail snobs, but they know what they're talking about. They know what they're looking for. Whereas I'd say to the masses, to your point, they'll probably choose somewhere based off the vibe. Yeah. If they think they can have a good time, the service. Yeah. And they might be mediocre cocktails, but they're probably going to choose that place over the place that is the best.
I mean, you can have a beer or you can have a gin and tonic, and as long as you have a good time at that bar, people will return.
Yeah, for sure. And so we talk about COA location. You're in Shan Hing Street in Shenwan on the staircase. What kind of decision was that? Did you have multiple options when you chose where to set up?
We were looking for a place that's nearby everything, but we didn't want it. We didn't want the bar to be, let's say, on a commercial road. But we wanted the bar to be close by so people can access easily. So we thought about Shinning Street because when we opened COA on Shinning Street was very quiet. There was literally nothing there. So when we opened the bar there, because it's just right off Aberdeen Street and Hollywood Road, so it's very near those popular areas in Hong Kong, but it's tucked away in this little street that's not so well known. but it's easily accessible. So that's the idea, because we wanted COA to be a place where you would only come if you know about what we're doing. We didn't want like anyone, oh, there's a bar, let's go in. We didn't want that in the end of the day.
Yeah, because there's no like advertising outside. It's like your tiny logo.
Back in the day, we didn't even have a logo, and then we got complaint from some of the guests. They're like, "Oh, you need to have a logo," because the idea was not to have a speakeasy bar. It was just a neighborhood style bar. So we thought about, okay, let's add a small logo, and then now we have a logo there. But back, the first, I would say, few months when we opened, we actually didn't even have a logo.
Your logo, I think, is really smart because it's very subtle.
Very subtle.
And anytime I see anyone walking past or going into COA, they'll take an Instagram of the
logo. They will take a picture,
with the light
but also because the street gets very dark at night, and then really the cool light pops out. Yeah.
So, I mean, in hindsight, fucking great decision. Like, you've got the small bar, neighborhood bar, you've got the tiny logo. You don't want to advertise it. It's off the beaten track, but people know about it.
Yeah.
When you're starting a business, people often think the opposite, right? Like, how are we going to get foot traffic in here? How are we going to get people to know about that we exist?
Yeah.
What was that like for you guys?
To be honest, when I first opened COA, I didn't know much about business. I made a lot of mistakes. I learned the hard way. And the place, first year and a half, was actually losing money. So we had to survive, that period. Again, it was because of lack of experience. And I mean, I've done a lot of projects for other bars and other people, but usually those projects doesn't involve like taking care of all aspects, maybe just the drink program or, the floor. But now I have a bar where I need to do everything from licensing to, everything, right? So it became a very challenging thing for me, and I had to learn the hard way. But we were open to, hearing feedback from people that we know who were giving honest opinion and honest feedback. And then the bar basically progressed, gradually from when we first opened and what we have right now. The music, the design, the furniture, I would say even the offerings. I think a lot has to be credited to the guest back in the day when they visited us. Yeah,
but that makes sense now in hindsight, and it seems like a very smooth path to people gradually knowing about you guys. But at what point, was there any point that there was a significant change in, okay, we've made it, now people know we're on the map, versus we're this new bar in town, we're not making any money, but we need people to come in, but we don't want to be that bar that's pushy and making people come in?
A lot of the people that we knew, they gave us the idea of how about, if your bar is not making money, how about you do happy hour or, do some promotions. But that was not the reason why we opened COA. COA was a place where we really wanted to showcase agave spirits in the right way. And that was something I felt like it was lacking in Hong Kong. I mean, although the reason why I opened COA was not because Hong Kong needed a tequila bar, it's just something I wanted to do. But I felt like if I do it, I have to do it the right way. I don't want to, do happy hour. I don't think happy hour is a good strategy to bring business because, if your bar is great, people will come, right? In the end of the day, it took a while to get to where we are, but a lot, I would say, was because of the industry people. They really helped promoted our bar, through word of mouth. They basically told their guests to come visit us because sometimes, in Hong Kong, it's very common, like you go bar hop because all the bars are so close by. And the guests would usually ask you like, oh, by the way, where's good to go? What's
especially
new in
tourists,
town?
right?
Yeah. Tourists or even locals, like, they would ask like, oh, what's new? What's good these days, for example. So a lot of the bartenders in Hong Kong, they really liked what we did. And then they recommended our bar to their guest. And then through word of mouth, slowly, we start to have more people coming in. And when they start coming into COA, we had to make sure that they have a really good time. So when they leave, they bring more people in. So the whole process was basically through word of mouth. Yeah.
And how, in terms of time frame, how long was that time before, like you guys not making money, or you guys starting?
I would say the
to get to the
entire
process?
We opened late 2017, I think December 2017, and the entire 2018 was basically downhill. We were not losing by much, but we were losing 5-10%, backwards every month basically. And I had to do consulting jobs outside to
make your
to
way
make more money, to reinvest into the business.
Consulting in still the same industry.
So the money that I made, I would reinvest into the business to make sure that the business is alive. It's a bit embarrassing, like opening a bar and then it has to be shut down in 1 year. So I had to do whatever I can to make sure that I can sustain the bar.
Yeah. I mean, these are lessons that I think people need to hear. Like, as I said before we started going live, we only hear the success stories, but we don't hear about the struggles and the graph that goes into.
But if you ask me, like, if that's something, if let's say if I have a chance to refine, and if I have to go through all of this again, I would say yes, because I think this way I grow better, and I think learning this way is the best way to learn. Like, because of this experience I had, now we have the sister bar, the Savory project. We also have COA in Shanghai as well. The process was a lot smoother and a lot easier. It was because of the hardship and because of the obstacles we had with the original COA, and also learning from it as quickly as we can. I think that was sort of important to us.
If you had to choose one, what's your biggest lesson from this whole experience?
Oh, that was not part of the...
It wasn't. Biggest lesson or biggest mistake?
We made a lot of mistakes. I mean, we didn't know anything about, like I said earlier, we didn't know anything about opening. I mean, all we knew in the end of the day was, okay, we can make cocktails. We know about agave spirits. And then the rest was pretty much very, not up to par. Like, if you've been to COA, the first day we opened, it was just, 4 walls surrounding the bar and some basic furniture. There was not even a piece of plant in there. There was no artwork. There was no photos, nothing. It was literally, there was once, like there's a guest, she complained back in the day. She came to COA and she's like, oh, it's like walking into a morgue.
God, that's terrible feedback.
Yeah, no, I don't, and because of these comments, actually, it really make us think, like, what can we do better to make sure we don't receive these comments again, for example. For example, you went to COA and you said the vibe was very good. It didn't come by chance, right? We worked on it to make sure that we achieve that, basically. So yeah, I mean, that's why I said we took every single comment and feedback very, very seriously, even from people that we didn't know, to make sure that we don't receive the same comment again.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a balancing act of listening to your customers versus also listening to yourselves if you believe you're onto something, and making sure that experience is as good as it can be for when you do get foot traffic and when they do come through the door. So you mentioned there you've got COA Hong Kong. That was where it all started, and now you've got COA in Shanghai. How much easier was it setting up COA in Shanghai, and then we'll go on to the Savory project?
I mean, setting up the bar, it was not difficult because we already had the template. We didn't do... So we had 2 COA Shanghai. The first one that we opened in Shanghai closed down. We had to reopen again. And the reason why we closed was because the government was doing a renewal project. So they had to kick us out from that location. Not just us, but everybody in that neighborhood. So we had to reopen into a new location. We just opened a few months ago. And that place is much bigger. It's a 4-story building.
Wow.
So it's a much bigger bar, actually.
Well, and COA is 4 stories.
Yeah, in Shanghai. Yeah.
And how's it going?
It's good so far, so good. Yeah.
Making money.
Yeah.
In the green. That's all you need.
Yeah.
So you think now you've got a model there where you're confident that if you wanted to expand, you've got a bit of a framework?
We actually never wanted to expand the brand COA. And the reason why we opened in Shanghai was after, a lot of back and forth. But Shanghai makes sense because Shanghai, the proximity to Hong Kong is so close. So it's easy for me to travel between Hong Kong and Shanghai. Also, before we opened COA Shanghai, we had a big following from Shanghai itself. So
how do you measure that on socials or
just asking the guests? Like when the guest comes into COA, we usually ask them like where they're from. We're just curious, where they're from, and we also want to talk to the guests. That's part of what we do. Like
it's true, your staff are really, really talkative, especially compared to other Hong Kong staff.
No, they were great. I mean, they explained obviously explained all the cocktails because I didn't have a clue what was going on.
Yeah,
but then also just like general chit chat and that's.
Yeah, I mean, just very general. Like we don't want to bore the guest as well because everybody they come, they want to have a good time. They come with their friends. But whenever we have a chance, we see there's a guest who's sitting alone, not talking. We go and try and talk to the guest as much as we can. And it doesn't need to be a long conversation. Just asking the guest, like where they're from, is this their first time, whether they like the drinks or not. And then from there, we basically gauge and see whether the guest wants to continue talking or not. If the guest doesn't want to be, bothered, then we just leave the guest alone. Make sure that in the end of the day, everybody, they come from different mood and, experiences. So we just want to make sure that the guests feel comfortable at the bar.
Yeah, it's really about the soft skills. And it's not every bar or every coffee shop in Hong Kong that you get that. So it's nice. It's really comforting when you go into a place like that and you get treated so well.
I mean, I wouldn't say we're the only one. I mean, there are some really good bars now in Hong Kong.
What's your favorite bar?
I mean, the standards in the bar standards in Hong Kong is actually very high, I would say right now. Favorite bar, like I said earlier,
Wait, what's your favorite bar that isn't owned by you?
Yeah, I saw that question actually. So my answer to that would be I normally go to a bar not because of the bar, is because of the people. And some of the fantastic people that we have in the industry are, let's say Lorenzo from Bar Leone, Devender from Aubrey, and also like Antonia from Quinnery. Like they're very, approachable. They're people. How do you call it? Like people person.
People.
Yeah. So whenever I go to their bar and whenever they are there, it just makes me feel very comfortable. And I go to bar because of the people, not really because of the bar itself. I mean, we're bartenders, We're happy to go to a bar and have a beer, have a gin and tonic or tequila, and just engage with the staff there, talk to them, and feel relaxed. I mean, how we see bars and how normal guests see bars different. Is very different. Yeah.
But how often do you actually go to other bars?
Recently, not a lot. I go there to support them when they have events, but I don't go, let's say, on a day-to-day basis for a drink. I have a family, and I usually, when I'm not working, I'm usually at home. So I spend time with the family. I mean, I've been in this industry for like 18 years now.
In Hong Kong?
Most of the time, yes. I've worked in Australia as well, in Melbourne, also in Macau, but most of the time in Hong Kong, yeah.
You were raised in Hong Kong?
I was born here. I grew up here. Yeah.
So I want to go back to the other bars.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in my head, or maybe other people's head, I'd say the bars will be super competitive with one another because I come from a sports background. So that competitiveness and everything you hear about entrepreneurs and businessmen and women online is like, right, you've got to be a shark. You've got to be a shark. But it sounds like you're very supportive of one another, or at least in your friends in the community in the bars. Is that a correct judgment?
Yeah, I think so, because like I said earlier, the bars in Hong Kong, they're all very nearby. And I think it's important that we help each other out. But like I said, when we opened COA first back in 2017, if we didn't get the support from the industry, we wouldn't be where we are now, So I think and now that we are doing okay, I think it's time to give back to the community and help bars that are not doing so well. But obviously not just that, but I mean, people who are really serious about what they're doing. I mean, some people might just open a bar for fun, but then there are people who open a bar because they're committed and because that's their passion, and people like that deserve to be noticed. So we try our best to recommend our guests to go visit them, just like COA, like how people came to us back in the day. Yeah.
How much do you learn from other bar owners?
Oh, so many things. Like everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. Whenever we go around bar, one of the things we like doing is just to observe like how they run their business and everything. Like this is part of our job when we go. Drink is, like I said, it's just one part, but also like the music, the vibe and everything. We like to observe anywhere we go in the world, basically. So it's always a learning experience.
Everything for what you're doing right now, if we backtrack, you're a bartender, right? You started off as a bartender and then found your passion, and now as you said, most bartenders dream of owning their own bar.
Yeah.
You've now done that 3 times over.
Yeah.
And who knows where the future holds. I hope we get to that.
Yeah.
How much time now do you actually get to spend at the bar versus running the business?
So I'm lucky, like the team that I have, they've been with me for quite a while now, and I don't have to be there all the time. And I'm confident that they're running the place well. But I usually go there few times a week, and just to check whether everything is okay and if the team needs me there or not. But I keep an eye on the bar all the time, but I'm not always there, basically.
Do you ever physically go behind the bar and start serving drinks?
Yeah. But also because I travel between Shanghai and Hong Kong now, so it's hard for me to be, all the time behind the bar. But I go behind the bar, but I prefer talking to the guests outside more, because outside you can engage with more people. The bar is small, so I try my best to be on the floor most of the time now, and let the bartenders, to perform on the stage. I mean, now for me, I feel like whenever I get a chance, I like to be outside and talk to people outside. Yeah.
And what's your recruitment process like then for your bartenders? Because it must be pretty rigorous considering your output of some of the best cocktails in the world.
I think we're not very demanding, to be honest. And it's also a problem in the industry now. Like, you cannot find staff easily. Sometimes we want somebody who doesn't have any experience, so like a blank canvas, because it's easy to train somebody who had no experience, and also somebody who is really hungry and passionate and really interested to work in this industry. But also, like I said earlier, like if you're not if you don't feel comfortable or if you don't like hosting people, this is not a job for you. So these are a few things that we ask the staff before we hire them. And we also tell them, most of the time we tell them, all the hard part of the job, not sugarcoat, like, oh, COA is this, COA is that, you're going to have a lot of fun here. No, that comes after. But what you need to know is, like, working in the F&B industry is going to be tough. It's going to be long hours. You're going to be always on your feet, standing. You need to engage with the people. You need to be always alert, always observant, proactive. And we tell them all this and see if they are interested. If they're interested, we put them under a trial, like part-time, and have them experience COA and see if they really fit into what we do. And if they're happy and if they think they can do the job, then we go ahead, basically.
I asked because I want to do a challenge, and I want to do a challenge at COA. Yeah. Some of my guests that have been coming on recently, I've been pitching this idea to them, so hear me out. I want to do 1 month long challenges at loads of different things.
Okay.
Whether that is swimming, professional dancing, although it wouldn't be professional with me, learning a language, and mixology.
Yeah.
So I want to commit to a 1 month solid training program of working on making cocktails, becoming as good as I can in 1 month's time to prove a point that if you work hard and commit to something for even just a short period of a month, you can make significant progress.
Yeah.
Would you have me at the bar at COA?
Well, you need to start off working as a barback first.
So what's that? What goes into that?
First few months, mostly what you're going to be doing is just washing glasses.
Oh, damn it. I haven't got the time for that. Come on. Okay, well, if I send you some footage in of me doing that
and
at
then
home.
if you pass that stage, and then we're going to put you on the floor. And then...
On the floor I can do on the floor.
But before you go on the floor, you need to be washing glasses because... Well, you need to be helpful to the team, right? Washing glasses doesn't need a lot of experience. Like anybody can, wash glasses. So if you pass that stage, while you wash glasses, obviously we will teach you about our menu, how to explain the drinks to the guest, and what is what, for example. And while you're doing barback, you will have a chance to memorize the menu. And once you're ready, if you're a fast learner, if you can memorize the menu, as fast as you can, and you're fluent, then we can put you on the floor. And then after that, you will be working on the floor for a while. And
that's not what I wanted to hear.
And once you pass that stage, then we're going to put you behind the bar and teach you slowly and slowly.
So how long is this process going to take?
It depends on the person.
If I'm a really fast learner,
I think it will still take you at least a few months.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
You're not selling it to me, Jay. You're not selling it to me. Maybe I'll just come as a customer.
Look, like making delicious cocktail, it's not hard, right? You follow a recipe. I can give to my mom, like one of our recipe, and if she knows how to make it, she'll make it, and it's going to taste good. I mean, F&B, it's more than just making drinks, right? It's about the experience I said earlier. So every single aspect of the business is important. Cocktail is just a part of it. Yeah.
I think I've got this romanticized image in my head of my friends walking into the bar, me flipping bottles behind the bar, shaking some stuff up.
A lot of the people don't know, like when they see a bartender from outside, this guy looks so cool making drinks, but there's actually a lot of work behind, before the person actually go up on that stage and make drinks for you. Yeah.
So everyone working the floor then at COA, is there aspirations to be behind the bar?
They're all bartenders. So we do not distinguish between floor staff and bartenders. So let's say if we have everybody in the team that has been through that process, then we do a rotational basis. Like 1 week, this guy is going to be in the bar. Another week, this girl is going to be in the bar. So we do on a rotational basis. Everybody get a chance to work in the bar, on the floor, and also at the door. So we also have a staff at the door that takes guests, for example, a wait list. If the bar is full and people want to come in, we put them on our wait list. So we need to have a staff outside. But the outside staff, it's a bit more, we're picky about it. We need somebody, that's a bit more soft-spoken, somebody that can, solve problems, because working at the door is the toughest job. If you ask me.
I can imagine, because COA has become somewhat famous for the wait time.
The wait time.
Holy shit.
It's getting better now, actually. The wait time is not as crazy as before. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if I should be saying this if I'm putting you in any shit here, but when I came to the bar, or me and my friends and my wife came to the bar, we were so lucky because we got there and we missed the initial rush because we got there at 7 and it opens at 6.
Yeah.
So we missed the initial rush, but there were still some people there and putting their names on the guest list, and they were very kind, very orderly. And the guy on the door was like, "Okay, yeah, we'll just take your name. It'll probably be around a 2.5-3 hour wait."
Yeah.
And I heard that and I was like, "Oh my God!" And they were like, "Yeah, okay, that's fine. We'll see you in 3 hours." Yeah. And then,
but also we make it very easy for the guest. So for example, once you're on the wait list, you can basically track your number. Then you can basically go out, have dinner, have drinks, and just wait for our message. But let's say your turn is up and you're in the middle of dinner. We don't want you to quit your dinner and come to the bar. So we let you finish your dinner, and then you can take your time. Once you're done, you can walk up to the bar. Whatever time, you can walk up to the bar, and then the next available table will be yours. So we make it as easy for the guests as possible. Like we don't want to be like, "Oh, you missed your table now, you can't come in, you need to re-queue." Exactly. So I mean, we're, like I said, in the end of the day, it's a hospitality business. We want to make sure that we keep it as easy and as convenient for the guests as possible.
I mean, it's a sign of success, right? It's a good problem to have for you.
Yeah.
And everyone seems receptive to it. As you said, people will put their names down, go for dinner.
Yeah.
If they get a spot, they get a spot. Great. If they don't, fine.
Yeah. Most people, they're very, they're very understandable. And that's why, obviously there will be people that will, complain, but that's part of our job, like working in F&B, you need to face people all the time. There will be some people that will complain, but I think most of the people, they're quite understandable. Yeah.
So I want to, before we, I don't want to forget about this. I want to talk about the Savory project. So this is your other bar in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
That only serves savory drinks.
Yeah.
What was your inspiration for that?
Yeah. So the idea of the Savory project actually came from, working at COA. We realized that a lot of the guests, they started to enjoy drinking cocktails that are not so sweet. They're more savory forward. And obviously we are a tequila bar, a mezcal bar. We can't go all out savory. So we thought about, how about we, open a new bar, a new project, and focus on savory cocktails and something that's a bit more adventurous, something that's a little bit more, outside the box. So we decided to open this bar called the Savory Project. Yeah, it was out of the experience we had at COA. And also, when you have one bar for too long, you tend to want to do something different at times. So we thought
even though it's doing so well, I'm bored now.
Yeah, it's just like a chef, right? You can't keep doing the same thing again and again. You need something different. And Savory Project it's more of an experimental project for us. It's a very niche concept, and there are people that probably don't like savory cocktails, but that's okay because there are a lot of people out there who enjoy drinking those style of drinks, and that's the place for them.
And excuse my ignorance, but is what you're doing at Savory Project quite rare? Are there other people doing
it's
savory
getting
cocktails?
Popular now, I would say. There are bars, I think, around the world, they focus on savory cocktails, but I wouldn't say there are a lot. There are savory drinks on menus of other people's bar, but it's rare to see like an entire menu that's focused on savory cocktails. Yeah.
So that's quite a big risk for you guys.
Yeah, it was. But I think this is just our style, whenever we open a bar, it's very niche. Like Agave Spirits, it's also very niche, and the Savory Project at the same time. We just like to sort of focus on specific, topic and subject. I think this is where our creativity really comes out. Yeah.
And how many years has that one been open now?
Almost 2 years.
Okay, yeah. So by my timeline, you are due to open another bar in the next year.
No.
Is that on your mind at all?
Never say never, but
that means you're thinking of something.
It's usually on and off. Like we have ideas and we talk about it. Like, should we do this? Shall we open a bar, that's focused on this, focus on that? We talk about this all the time within the team, but it's just talk.
What's the craziest idea that you've had that you haven't gone through with?
Craziest? I would say the craziest idea was to open a tequila bar. I don't think there's anything else that can be crazier. Imagine opening a tequila bar that only sells tequila and mezcal. In the beginning, we didn't even have food at the bar, right? It was just like cocktails and spirits. Now we have food, but when we first opened, it was very, very niche. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's a huge risk. Everything you're doing seems to be a huge risk.
I know.
And betting on a tiny niche.
I'm so stupid.
But hey, it works out, Fortune favors the brave. So I want to also touch on Hong Kong as a city. You're born and raised here. Mm-hmm. In your own ways, it doesn't have to be F&B, but what is it that you love so much about Hong Kong?
I think I just like the diversity of the city. Like in Hong Kong, you get a little bit of everything. You can live your own lifestyle here. Like, you get the beach, you get the mountain, you get the city, great food, great drinks, shopping. You get a little bit of everything in the city. Plus the city, it's not big. So it's easy for you to like go from one place to the other. Let's say if I want to go to a beach in Hong Kong, I just have to take, a bus, 30 minutes, I'm at the beach. If I want to go up to like a nice trail, I can do that. Most cities that I've been to, I traveled to, you can't do that. You have to drive few hours, like to get to one spot. But I think in Hong Kong, we are super blessed. Like, we have a little bit of everything and they're not that far away from one another. So it's easy. It's very accessible. And at the same time, you can live your lifestyle, in Hong Kong, basically.
Have you ever considered living anywhere else?
Not at the moment, but I was thinking maybe when I grow older, maybe I want to live somewhere a bit more peaceful. If that doesn't happen, I'll probably just move to somewhere like Mui Wo and,
exactly.
Chan Chao, like... Yeah. Like I said, in Hong Kong, you can get anything you want.
You can. And they said if you want something more peaceful, you just move like 20 more minutes further away.
Exactly. The only issue I have right now is because it's my son, he needs to go to school. So we need to always put his school as the first priority, like wherever we're staying. But when he grows older and then we can be a bit more, flexible, we can live out in the islands and don't have to come to the city all the time. Yeah.
And has having a family sort of changed your perspective on things?
I think my wife, she's super supportive. Like she never actually complained. I know when I opened COA, I was already married, and in the beginning, I had to be at the bar for 15 hours, 16 hours a day. She was super supportive. She never complained about, why I don't give time to the family or anything like that. She totally understood. This is my passion. This is what I wanted to do. So big kudos to her. And even now, with multiple venues going on, she's still the same. She's very supportive. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, it's so important to have someone by your side.
Yeah. I know. I totally, I'm like I said, I'm extremely lucky and blessed. Like, I have a family that understand what I do, and they never, really interfere and ask or anything. Yeah. But now, I mean, like I said, now I'm at a stage where I have more free time. I can give back that time to my family. So we travel a lot more now. And yeah, I don't have to be at the bar all the time.
That's the dream, right?
Yeah. I mean, not exactly yet, but we're getting there.
What is the dream?
No, that's the dream. I'm not exactly, I mean, like I said, I'm not there yet, but we're getting to that at the moment. Yeah.
I want to ask you one question, which I think about with myself if I was in your position, which is your relationship with alcohol, because you're owner of multiple bars. Yeah. So I'd imagine there's a lot of tasting and maybe even pressure on you to entertain and things. So what is your relationship with alcohol like?
Now I don't drink if I don't have to. But yeah, if there's an event, if there's a guest bartender, let's say coming from abroad, and if I know him, I'll go and support him. I'll have maybe one drink or even half a drink. I'll let him know in advance, like, I'm not going to finish this. Please don't mind. I mean, now I run a lot. Plus, in general, like I feel like I just don't enjoy drinking too much. I like tasting cocktails, spirits, but I just don't like to commit to like one full drink. And it has been like this for a few years now. And I mean, like I said, I've been in this industry for 18 years. I've been there, I've done it. Now I'm not getting any younger, I'm getting older. And I just want to make sure that I take care of my health, and I drink less. If I don't have to, I don't drink. If I have to, I'll drink a little bit. Yeah. Is
there an expectation when you're in the industry, as you said, when you're younger or when you're coming up, to kind of drink quite frequently, or like what is that expectation, if at all, when you're in the F&B industry?
I mean, yeah, when I was younger, you get that peer pressure, where you would go and people would be like, hey, have a shot, Now I'm in a position where I can say like, oh, no, I don't drink. Now, some people that knows I don't drink much, they will pour like a fake shot, like water. And we just,
you need those people behind the bar.
Yeah. And most people, they, like I said, it's a hospitality business. Nobody will force you to drink alcohol if they know you're very serious about this, you're committed. So when I go to places now, I just tell them, they understand, they don't force me. So yeah.
I love that. And it's something I'm very interested in because as I've referenced a few times, the traditional idea of an entrepreneur or a successful businessman or woman is someone that maybe neglects their health in order for their business to succeed and thrive and make it and all that sort of stuff. But it's good to hear from you and from a few other people that I've spoken to that actually health is a priority as well. So by not drinking, you know that you're going to wake up in the morning and go for your run or do all that other stuff. Has that been like a recent shift for you?
No, I think it's been a while. I don't know if you know, like I used to be 125 kilo.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
I was. It was not long ago. I think it was 2019, 2020. Around that time, I was still 125 kilo.
Wow, you look incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my goodness.
But I didn't gain weight because of drinking alcohol, but that was another reason. Like I wanted to, further reduce drinking alcohol because now I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to be more healthy, and then I got into running, and so all those unhealthy stuff, no, I'm pushing it away. Even when I eat, for example, I try my best to eat balanced, eat healthy, try and incorporate, some greens and fruits, and try not to eat a lot of, fried stuff. So I mean, I try my best to incorporate a healthy sort of eating habit now, and alcohol sort of becomes like, secondary for me. Like it's for me, it's a job now. It's part of my job, but I don't necessarily have to go out and drink. Like most places now I go to, for example, even sometimes if I visit a bar, I just order a non-alcoholic drink, and that's okay. But yeah, if they have something new on the menu that they really want me to try, I'll try. But some people, they know I don't drink, they will make me a small portion just to taste. Or sometimes when I go with my colleagues, maybe they want to drink, so I will have a sip and I'll just give it to them.
And do you think you being intentionally healthy and prioritizing your health has had a positive effect on your business?
I think positive effect on me, yes. I mean, obviously, if there's an effect on me, then there will be a bit of an effect on the business as well. Like I'm more clear-minded now. Like when I can think better now, and I feel like I'm more creative. Like because I just don't know. Like I wouldn't say it's just because of the alcohol. I would also say because working out and all of that added together, it just makes you more alert at times. And yeah, like I said, I even in the past, like I didn't really drink a lot. Yeah, maybe when I first came into the industry, the first few years it was crazy, but after that, like I just don't like that feeling anymore of getting tipsy and drunk and the next day hangover.
Can relate.
Yeah.
How would you like to be remembered?
Who, me?
How would you like to be remembered?
That's a tough one. Can we cut that? I don't know. I hope I can, give some positive influence. Like sometimes, for example, when I travel, I meet people, they come to me and they say, "Oh, Jay, look at me. I lost weight because of you. Wow. You've been an inspiration." Like I get that.
That's powerful.
Recently I was in Madrid for the 50 best bar ceremony. I met a few people and they looked completely different. They lost so much weight and they came to me and they're like, "Oh, Jay, I've been following your journey and you inspire me." And this is something I didn't realize because people don't say stuff like this to me on social media. I would expect people would be shy. They would maybe say, on social media, like on a messenger or something like that. But people come to me face to face and tells me like, "Oh, you've been an inspiration to me. I lost weight." Or people getting into running, for example, getting into like a healthier lifestyle. So, I mean, I think, yeah, this means a lot to me. And hopefully I can influence more people in a positive way.
I love that because it's the thing you've mentioned there and you've referenced is not to do with your what you're actually known for, your alcohol and your
I mean, I have influenced people in that regard as well.
Of course. But I mean, it's amazing how you've just proved a point that you can influence people in so many different ways.
Yeah, but I think this means more to me. This is because we don't get any younger, and a lot of the people that came to me and told me, "Oh, I lost weight, I got into running," are the people who've been in the industry for a long time, and they used to have, I wouldn't say bad habits, but they used to drink and they used to not work out at all, and now there's a shift in their approach, which hopefully will they will inspire the other generation at the same time, or their staff, or their community, for example. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, I can do more of that. And
I love that that's the thing you're highlighting, because I'm such an advocate for staying healthy and healthy habits and all that sort of stuff.
I think it's important in our industry, like we're always surrounded by booze and late nights and, long hours. A lot of the people in the industry, they tell me they don't have time to work out. I mean, to be honest, there's always time. You just have to make your own time. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's something I tell myself every day.
That's the highlight.
I try and never say I didn't have time to do something.
Yeah.
I've tried to change to say I didn't make time, to be very frank and honest. I didn't make time to do that thing you asked me to do.
Yeah.
I obviously didn't prioritize it.
I mean, I don't want to talk too much about myself, but for example,
that's the whole point of the episode, by the way.
For example, I used to live in Twin Mon, and there was this peak called Castle Peak. It's considered one of the sharpest peaks in Hong Kong. And before work, I would commit all the way from where I lived to that peak. It would be about like 5K distance. I mean, I would take a bus or minibus. I would go there, and I would hike up the mountain, and I would come down every single day in summer, like hot and humid Hong Kong summer. And that was my routine. And then I would go home, I would shower, and then I would prepare for work. I would always do that. Doesn't matter if I have enough sleep or not. Doesn't matter what's on my schedule today. I would make sure that I get that out of the way. And that's how I actually lost weight. Like, it's the commitment, it's the repetition.
It's discipline.
And you need that, or else it's impossible to do anything in life,
Completely agree. Discipline. Discipline beats motivation every time.
It's cliche. Like, everybody says this, but to be honest, it's how you implement it. It's the tough part, right? Like, we all know it. Discipline is required, but to implement it, it's the challenging.
That's part. Also one thing I love about like your weight loss journey and health and fitness, because as you said at the start, you can get lucky in business. Obviously, discipline helps, and you should install that as well, and that gives you a greater chance of success. But you can get lucky.
Yeah.
With health and fitness, if you see someone with a good body or has lost a load of weight, there's no cheat code to that. It's like, right, exactly. You've been disciplined every day. You've woken up, you've done that hike, and it's like, right, hats off to you.
It's how much you give, and in return, it's how much you gain, right? Like, you can't expect, like, oh, I'm gonna do one workout, and then the next day, I'm gonna be fine. It's how much you actually put into the effort that you put out. It's how much you gain in the end of the day.
It's a good lesson in life. Yeah. As you know, Jay, the podcast is called Abnormal.
Yeah.
It's for normal people who want to do abnormal things. And I ask my guests the same question every time. What's the one piece of advice you would give to someone looking to do something abnormal in their lives?
I get this question a lot, like, especially within the bar industry. Like, if I wanted to open a bar, or if I want to do something within the industry, what should be my approach? I think there's one advice that I like to give is to try and find your niche and do something that you think you're good at and focus on that. Because right now within the industry, bar industry, not only bar industry, but in general, right? Like, it becomes very competitive. There's so many things happening at the same time. It's hard for somebody to really stand out. That's why it's important that somebody needs to find their own niche and make sure they work on that to get to where they should be. It might take some time, Rome was not built in one day, right? So I think you need to have dedication, you need to have discipline, and you need to have patience, most importantly. And in the end, if you work hard and if you're consistent, you should be able to reach that point.
I love that. It's great advice. Well, Jay, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time. I know you had to jump in a taxi last minute to get here, but I really appreciate you doing that. It's great to meet you in person. And everything that you've mentioned here, like, I just can't wait to visit the rest of your bars. If there's another one coming up, I can't wait to see.
If you ever plan to go to Shanghai, let me know.
For sure. And
that's a really cool concept. It's a huge place. It's hard to open a place like that in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is just way too expensive. But yeah, if you ever go to Shanghai, let me know. If you want to go to the Savory project, let me know.
Yeah, well, it's actually on my wife and I's date list. Ideas was the Savory project, so I'll be texting you again. But thank you, mate. I really appreciate it, and
thank you, Peter.
Good luck with everything. It's great to follow along, and I can't wait to hear your story.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Abnormal Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and give us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you are listening to on right now, as it really goes a long way to growing the show. Thank you, and see you in the next one.